Think foraging means risking your life on misidentified mushrooms? Think again. There are 12 incredibly versatile edible plants that have been nourishing communities across cultures for centuries. Yet modern gardening has pushed them into obscurity in favor of familiar vegetables that demand constant attention. These forgotten powerhouses don't just survive neglect, they actually thrive with minimal care. And if you're not growing them, you're missing out on some of the most unique, nutritious, and low-maintenance edibles you can cultivate. After years of studying traditional food plants and heritage gardening practices from around the world, I've discovered these botanical treasures often outperform conventional vegetables in flavor, resilience, and sheer versatility. Today, we're diving deep into all 12 plants that deserve a comeback in your adventurous garden. Stick around, because number 10 is an indigenous root that sustained Native American communities for millennia. And that bonus tip at the end will completely change how you think about building a truly self-sufficient garden. Let's start with our first plant. 1. Hemerochilus fulva, daylily. The common daylily is possibly the most overlooked edible ornamental in Western gardens, and if you've never considered eating it, you're missing out on a plant that's been feeding Asian communities for thousands of years. This remarkable perennial has sustained generations with its multiple edible parts, flowers, buds, shoots, and tubers, while thriving in conditions that challenge fussier vegetables. Here's what makes daylilies absolutely extraordinary for edible gardens. These vigorous plants produce stunning trumpet-shaped flowers in shades of orange, yellow, and red, and nearly every part above and below ground is edible. But here's the advantage that sets them apart. Daylilies are virtually indestructible, tolerating poor soil, drought, heat, cold, and neglect while spreading reliably year after year. The flowers are the most celebrated edible part. Each bloom lasts only a day, hence the name, but a mature clump produces dozens of buds over several weeks. The fresh flowers have a crisp texture and slightly sweet, lettuce-like flavor. They're spectacular, stuffed with herbed cheese, battered and fried as tempura, or tossed fresh into salads for a dramatic presentation. The unopened flower buds are equally delicious and are actually preferred in many Asian cuisines. Called golden needles. When dried, these buds have a slightly tangy flavor and meaty texture. They're traditional in hot and sour soup and can be stir-fried or added to any dish where you'd use vegetables. In spring, the young shoots emerging from the ground are excellent eating. Harvest them when 4 to 8 inches tall and prepare them like asparagus. They have a mild, pleasant flavor and tender texture. This gives you an early spring harvest before most garden vegetables are ready. The tuberous roots are also edible, though harvesting them kills the plant, so this is best done when thinning overcrowded clumps. The tubers have a crisp texture and slightly sweet, nutty flavor. They're commonly used in Asian stir-fries and can be eaten raw, boiled, or roasted. Daylilies grow in zones 3 through 10, making them accessible to most gardeners. Plant them in spring or fall, spacing them 18 to 24 inches apart. They tolerate full sun to partial shade and adapt to virtually any soil type. Once established, daylilies require almost no care and spread steadily into impressive clumps. The plants are remarkably pest and disease resistant. Deer and rabbits usually avoid them, making them valuable in areas with wildlife pressure. They're also drought tolerant once established, though they produce more heavily with occasional watering during dry spells. A single mature clump can provide dozens of flowers and buds throughout the blooming season, plus spring shoots and occasional tubers. This is an ornamental plant that earns its space by providing multiple harvests while looking beautiful. One important note, only Hemerochilus fulva and closely related species are edible. True lilies from the genus Lilium are not edible and some are toxic, so correct identification is essential. 2. Tragopagon porifolius, salsify. Salsify is one of the most unjustly forgotten root vegetables in Western gardens. Cultivated extensively in Europe for centuries, this biennial plant produces a delicious taproot with a distinctive oyster-like flavor. Yet it's virtually disappeared from modern gardens, despite being remarkably easy to grow and uniquely delicious. The plant grows 2 to 4 feet tall with grass-like leaves and spectacular purple daisy-like flowers in the second year. But it's the long white taproot that makes salsify worth growing. These roots can reach 8 to 12 inches long and develop a complex, delicate flavor that's earned salsify the nickname oyster plant. What makes salsify absolutely perfect for adventurous gardeners is its incredibly low-maintenance nature. This plant thrives on neglect, preferring lean soil and minimal care. It actually develops better flavor and texture in poor to moderately fertile soil. Rich soil causes forking and excessive top growth at the expense of root quality. Salsify is remarkably cold-hardy, tolerating hard frosts and even improving in flavor after exposure to freezing temperatures. The roots can be left in the ground all winter and harvested as needed. This gives you fresh vegetables during the dormant season when most garden crops are finished. Plant salsify seeds directly in the garden in early spring, about 1/2 inch deep and 2 inches apart in rows. Thin seedlings to 4 to 6 inches apart once they're established. The seeds germinate slowly, often taking 2 to 3 weeks. So be patient. The roots develop slowly over the growing season and are typically ready to harvest in fall, about 120 days after planting. You'll know they're ready when the tops begin to die back. Harvest by digging carefully to avoid breaking the long taproots. The flavor is truly unique. Sweet, mild, and with that characteristic oyster-like quality that's unlike any other vegetable. The roots can be scrubbed and cooked with skins on or peeled before cooking. They're delicious roasted, mashed, made into fritters, or sliced thin and fried into chips. The roots discolor quickly when cut, so keep them in acidulated water until ready to cook. The young leaves are also edible and can be used in salads or cooked like spinach. And if you let some plants flower in their second year, the unopened flower buds are edible too, with a mild, pleasant flavor. Salsify requires virtually no pest or disease management and rarely needs watering once established. A 10-foot row can produce 20 to 30 substantial roots. This is a true heritage vegetable that deserves rediscovery by gardeners seeking unusual, low-maintenance crops with gourmet appeal. 3. Oenanthe javanica, water dropwort, edible variety. Critical safety note. The genus Oenanthe contains several highly toxic species, including Oenanthe crocata, which is one of the most poisonous plants in Europe. Only Oenanthe javanica is edible and safe for cultivation. Never harvest wild Oenanthe species unless you have absolutely certain expert identification. The edible species discussed here must be obtained from reputable sources as cultivated plants. Misidentification can be fatal. Do not forage wild water dropwort under any circumstances. Oenanthe javanica, the edible water dropwort, is a popular vegetable throughout East and Southeast Asia, particularly in Japan, Korea, China, and Vietnam. This semi-aquatic perennial herb has been cultivated for centuries and offers a unique aromatic flavor that's completely different from conventional greens. Yet it remains virtually unknown in Western gardens, despite being easy to grow and highly productive. The plant grows 12 to 24 inches tall, with attractive, finely divided leaves similar to cilantro or flat-leaf parsley. It spreads by runners and thrives in consistently moist to wet conditions, making it perfect for areas of the garden that are too wet for most vegetables. What makes water dropwort absolutely remarkable is its ability to thrive where other vegetables fail. This plant loves wet feet and actually grows best in shallow water or constantly saturated soil. It's ideal for rain gardens, pond edges, or low spots that remain damp. This turns a challenging growing condition into a productive asset. The entire above-ground portion of the plant is edible and highly aromatic. The flavor is complex, reminiscent of celery, parsley, and cilantro, with a slightly peppery note. It's used extensively in Asian cuisines, particularly in hot pots, stir-fries, salads, and as a garnish. Water dropwort is typically propagated from divisions or cuttings rather than seeds. Plant divisions or rooted cuttings in spring. Spacing them 8 to 12 inches apart. The plants establish quickly and begin spreading in moist conditions. They can be grown in containers, placed in saucers of water, making them accessible even without a water garden. The plants grow vigorously in warm weather and can be harvested continuously by cutting stems 2 to 3 inches above the base. They regrow quickly, providing multiple harvests throughout the growing season. In zones 7 through 11, water dropwort can be grown as a perennial. In colder zones, it dies back in winter but regrows from roots in spring. Water dropwort is remarkably pest and disease resistant. The aromatic compounds that give it flavor also deter most insect pests. The plants rarely need any intervention beyond harvesting. The nutritional profile is impressive. Water dropwort is rich in vitamins A and C, plus minerals including calcium and iron. It also contains beneficial compounds with antioxidant properties. A small planting can provide continuous harvests of fresh greens throughout the growing season. The flavor is distinctive enough to use as a specialty herb, but mild enough to use in quantity as a vegetable. This is a unique crop that fills a niche most gardeners don't even know exists, a productive edible for wet, challenging sites. 4. Sium cicerum, skirret. Skirret is possibly the most mysterious forgotten vegetable in European culinary history. This perennial root vegetable was a prized crop throughout medieval Europe and remained popular until the 18th century. Then it virtually disappeared, replaced by potatoes and other New World crops. This is tragic because skirret produces uniquely sweet, aromatic roots with a flavor unlike any modern vegetable. The plant grows 2 to 4 feet tall with compound leaves and clusters of small white flowers in summer. Underground, it produces bundles of thin, finger-like roots that cluster together like a bunch of carrots. These grayish-white roots are the edible prize. What makes skirret absolutely exceptional is its completely unique flavor, sweet, aromatic, and complex with notes of carrot, parsnip, and something entirely its own. Historical sources describe it enthusiastically, and those who rediscover it today often become devoted advocates. Skirret thrives in zones 5 through 9 and prefers rich, moist soil. Plant root divisions or seeds in spring. Seeds germinate slowly and irregularly, so root divisions are preferred when available. Space plants 12 inches apart in rows. The plants grow steadily through summer, developing their root clusters underground. The roots are typically ready to harvest in fall of the first year, though they develop more fully in subsequent years. Skirret is a perennial, so established plants can be divided for harvest while leaving some roots to continue growing. Harvest by digging carefully around the root cluster and lifting it entirely. The roots are thin, typically 1/4 to 1/2 inch in diameter and 4 to 8 inches long. Each plant produces a bundle of 6 to 20 roots. The roots have a thin, tough core that should be removed before eating. This is easily done by cooking the roots whole, then splitting them lengthwise and pulling out the fibrous center. The remaining flesh is tender, sweet, and delicious. Skirret can be boiled, roasted, or sautéed. The flavor is sweet enough that minimal seasoning is needed. Just butter and salt bring out the natural sweetness beautifully. The cooked roots have a soft, yielding texture similar to cooked parsnips, but more delicate. The young leaves are also edible and can be added to salads or cooked as greens, though the roots are the primary harvest. Skirret requires consistent moisture and rich soil for best production. The plants are relatively pest-free and disease-resistant. They tolerate partial shade, making them useful in sites too shaded for most root crops. This is a true heritage crop that connects you to centuries of culinary tradition. A small planting of 6 to 10 plants can provide several pounds of unique gourmet quality roots. It's a conversation piece, a historical curiosity, and a genuinely delicious vegetable all in one. 5. Tetragonioids. New Zealand spinach. New Zealand spinach is one of the most heat-tolerant leafy greens you can grow, yet it remains relatively unknown in home gardens. This spreading annual was one of the first food plants brought back to Europe from Captain Cook's voyages to New Zealand, and it quickly gained popularity as a summer spinach alternative. While true spinach bolts and turns bitter in heat, New Zealand spinach thrives and keeps producing tender leaves all summer long. The plant looks nothing like true spinach. It grows as a sprawling ground cover reaching 1 to 2 feet tall and spreading 3 to 4 feet wide. The leaves are thick, succulent, and triangular with a crisp texture. The plants produce small, insignificant yellow flowers, but are grown for their continuous leaf production. What makes New Zealand spinach absolutely perfect for summer gardens is its exceptional heat tolerance. This plant keeps producing tender, mild leaves even when temperatures soar above 90 degrees Fahrenheit. Conditions that would turn regular spinach into a bitter, inedible mess. It actually prefers hot weather and becomes more productive as temperatures rise. The flavor is mild and pleasant, similar to true spinach but slightly more mineral and with a subtle salinity. The leaves can be used raw in salads when young and tender, or cooked like spinach in any recipe. They hold their texture well when cooked and don't become slimy like some greens. Plant New Zealand spinach seeds directly in the garden after all danger of frost has passed and soil has warmed to at least 60 degrees Fahrenheit. The seeds have a hard coat and germinate more reliably if soaked overnight before planting. Sow seeds 1/2 inch deep and 12 inches apart. The plants spread significantly, so give them room. Germination takes 1 to 3 weeks. Once established, the plants grow vigorously in warm weather and begin producing harvestable leaves in about 50 to 60 days. Harvest by pinching off the tender growing tips and young leaves. The plants respond to harvesting by branching and producing more stems, so regular picking actually increases production. You can harvest continuously throughout summer and fall until frost kills the plants. New Zealand spinach tolerates poor soil and drought better than true spinach, though it produces more heavily with adequate moisture and fertility. The plants are remarkably pest-free. Their thick, slightly succulent leaves seem to deter most insects, and diseases rarely affect them. The nutritional profile is excellent. New Zealand spinach is rich in vitamins A and C, plus minerals including calcium, iron, and magnesium. It also contains beneficial antioxidants and fiber. One important note, like true spinach and chard, New Zealand spinach contains oxalic acid. Most people can eat it without concern, but those prone to kidney stones should consume it in moderation. A few plants can provide continuous harvests of fresh greens throughout the hottest months when other leafy vegetables struggle. This is the answer to the summer spinach problem that frustrates so many gardeners. 6. Peltaria alliacea, garlic cress. Garlic cress is a perennial vegetable that's virtually unknown outside its native range in southeastern Europe, yet it offers gardeners a unique combination of garlic flavor and leafy green vegetable in one easy-to-grow plant. This member of the cabbage family has been used in traditional cuisines for centuries, but remains a rarity in modern gardens. The plant forms attractive rosettes of deep green, rounded leaves and produces clusters of small white flowers on upright stems in late spring. It grows 12 to 18 inches tall and spreads slowly into neat clumps. The foliage has a distinctive garlic aroma when crushed. What makes garlic cress absolutely remarkable is its ability to provide fresh garlic-flavored greens year-round in mild climates and its extraordinary cold hardiness in harsh climates. This perennial tolerates temperatures well below 0 degrees Fahrenheit and keeps producing edible leaves even under snow cover. The flavor is the real draw, a perfect blend of mild garlic and peppery mustard greens. It's more subtle than raw garlic but more assertive than mild greens. The young leaves are tender and mild enough for fresh salads. Mature leaves are excellent cooked in any dish where you'd use both garlic and greens. Soups, stews, sautés, or pasta dishes. Garlic cress thrives in zones 5 through 8 and prefers cool conditions. It grows best in partial shade and rich, moist soil. Plant seeds or divisions in spring or fall, spacing plants 10 to 12 inches apart. Seeds germinate readily in cool conditions. Keep soil moist until seedlings are established. The plants grow slowly the first year, developing their root systems. Production increases significantly in subsequent years as clumps mature. Harvest outer leaves as needed, leaving the growing center intact. The plants continue producing fresh leaves throughout the growing season. In mild climates, they provide harvests year-round. In cold climates, they're among the first greens available in spring and continue producing until hard freezes. Garlic cress is remarkably pest and disease resistant. The pungent oils that give it flavor also deter most insects and prevent fungal issues. The plants rarely need any intervention. The flowers are edible too, with a mild garlic flavor. They make attractive garnishes and can be added to salads. If you let some flowers go to seed, garlic cress will self-sow modestly without becoming invasive. This is a true permaculture crop. Plant it once and harvest for years with minimal care. A small planting of 6 to 10 plants can provide regular harvests of uniquely flavored greens. It's a specialty crop that fills a niche most gardeners don't know exists, a perennial source of garlic-flavored greens that requires almost no attention. 7. Eryngium maritimum sea holly. Sea holly is possibly the most unexpected edible plant you'll encounter. This striking perennial is primarily known as an ornamental with its steel blue foliage and thistle-like flowers. Yet it has a long history as a food plant, particularly in Europe, where the roots were candied and sold as an expensive delicacy for centuries. The plant is native to coastal sand dunes and beaches, which gives you a clue about its incredible resilience. The plant forms attractive rosettes of spiny, blue-gray leaves and sends up branching stems 1 to 2 feet tall, topped with distinctive metallic blue flower heads surrounded by spiny bracts. The entire plant has an architectural quality that makes it valuable as an ornamental, even without considering its edible potential. What makes sea holly absolutely exceptional is its extraordinary tolerance of extreme conditions. This plant thrives in pure sand, tolerates salt spray, withstands drought, and requires absolutely no care once established. It's adapted to one of the harshest growing environments on Earth, coastal dunes where most plants can't survive. The thick taproot is the edible portion. Historically, these roots were harvested, candied in sugar syrup, and sold as an aphrodisiac confection in England. The candied roots, called eringos, were popular from medieval times through the Victorian era. The roots have a sweet, aromatic flavor when young, reminiscent of chestnuts or sweet parsnips. They can be harvested, peeled, and cooked like any root vegetable, though the candied preparation remains the most famous use. Sea holly grows in zones 4 through 9 and absolutely requires excellent drainage. It thrives in sandy, gravelly, or rocky soil where other plants struggle. It actually performs poorly in rich, moisture-retentive soil. This makes it perfect for challenging sites with lean, dry conditions. Plant seeds or root cuttings in spring or fall. Seeds need cold stratification to germinate. Sow them outdoors in fall or refrigerate them for 4 to 6 weeks before spring planting. Space plants 12 to 18 inches apart. The plants develop slowly the first year, establishing their deep taproots. In subsequent years, they become robust and flower reliably. The roots are typically harvested from 2 to 3-year-old plants in fall after foliage dies back. Sea holly requires no watering, no fertilizing, and no pest or disease management. It's completely self-sufficient once established. The plant is also deer-resistant and tolerates salt, making it valuable in coastal gardens or areas with deer pressure. The flowers are valuable for pollinators and can be cut and dried for arrangements. They retain their color beautifully when dried. This is an ornamental plant that offers edible roots as a bonus, a true multi-purpose perennial for challenging sites. It connects you to a fascinating piece of culinary history while requiring absolutely zero maintenance. 8. Cram maritima, sea kale. Sea kale is one of the most aristocratic forgotten vegetables in European culinary history. This impressive perennial was extensively cultivated in England and France during the 18th and 19th centuries, prized for its tender, blanched shoots. Then it virtually disappeared from gardens despite being remarkably easy to grow and completely unique in flavor. This is criminal negligence because sea kale is one of the finest gourmet vegetables you can cultivate. The plant forms large, handsome clumps of blue-gray cabbage-like leaves with wavy edges. The foliage alone makes it ornamental enough for landscape use. In late spring, it produces dramatic sprays of honey-scented white flowers that can reach 2 to 3 feet tall. The entire plant is architectural and beautiful. What makes sea kale absolutely remarkable is its extraordinary tolerance of coastal conditions and its ability to produce gourmet-quality shoots with minimal care. Like sea holly, this plant is native to coastal beaches and sand dunes. It thrives in pure sand, tolerates salt spray, and requires virtually no attention once established. The young shoots are the primary harvest. In early spring, as shoots emerge from the dormant crown, they're traditionally blanched by covering them with boxes, pots, or soil. This blanching produces tender, pale shoots with a delicate, nutty flavor, reminiscent of asparagus, but more complex. The blanched shoots can be harvested when 6 to 8 inches long. Cut them at soil level and prepare them like asparagus, steamed, sautéed, or served with butter and hollandaise sauce. They're considered one of the finest spring vegetables with a taste and texture that commands premium prices when available. Unblanched shoots are also edible but have a stronger, slightly bitter flavor. The young leaves can be cooked like cabbage, and the flower buds can be prepared like broccoli. C. Kale grows in zones 4 through 9 and requires excellent drainage. It thrives in sandy, gravelly soil and full sun. Plant root cuttings or crowns in spring, spacing them 2 to 3 feet apart. The plants develop slowly the first year, but become substantial in subsequent years. Once established, sea kale requires no irrigation, no fertilization, and no pest or disease management. It's completely self-sufficient and can produce for 10 to 15 years or more in the same location. Harvest shoots for 4 to 6 weeks in spring, then allow the plant to grow freely and rebuild its energy reserves for the following year. A mature plant can provide several pounds of shoots annually. This is a true heritage crop that connects you to centuries of gourmet tradition while requiring almost zero work. It's ornamental, productive, and completely unique. A vegetable that deserves widespread rediscovery. 9. Myrrhis odorata, sweet Sicily. Sweet Sicily is one of the most useful yet forgotten perennial herbs in European gardens. This attractive plant, with fern-like foliage and white flower clusters, was once a standard in kitchen gardens, valued for its sweet anise flavor and multiple edible parts. Yet it's become rare in modern gardens, despite being remarkably easy to grow and genuinely useful. The plant forms large clumps, 2 to 3 feet tall and wide, with delicate, fern-like leaves that smell of anise when brushed. In late spring, it produces umbels of small white flowers, followed by distinctive ridged seeds that ripen to dark brown. What makes Sweet Cicely absolutely exceptional is that every part of the plant is edible and useful. The leaves, flowers, green seeds, roots, all are edible and all have that distinctive sweet anise flavor. This makes it one of the most versatile food plants you can grow. The fresh leaves are the primary harvest. They have a sweet anise flavor without the harshness of true anise or fennel. The leaves can be used fresh in salads, chopped into soups and stews, or used as a cooking herb. They're particularly valuable for reducing the sourness of tart fruits. Adding Sweet Cicely to rhubarb or gooseberries while cooking allows you to reduce sugar significantly. The green seeds are delicious, crisp, sweet, and intensely anise-flavored. Harvest them while still green and soft before they harden and turn brown. They're excellent in salads, with cheese, or as a snack straight from the plant. The flowers are edible and make attractive, flavorful garnishes. The roots can be cooked like parsnips and have a sweet, aromatic flavor, though harvesting roots kills the plant. Sweet Cicely thrives in zones 3 through 8 and prefers partial shade and rich, moist soil. It's one of the few culinary herbs that actually grows better in shade than full sun. This makes it valuable for woodland gardens or shaded areas where most herbs struggle. Plant seeds or divisions in spring or fall. Seeds require cold stratification to germinate. Sow them outdoors in fall or refrigerate for 4 to 6 weeks before spring planting. Once established, Sweet Cicely self-sows modestly without becoming invasive. The plants are remarkably pest and disease resistant. The aromatic compounds that give Sweet Cicely its flavor deter most insects. The plants rarely need any intervention. Harvest leaves throughout the growing season. The plants continue producing fresh foliage from spring through fall. The flavor is best before flowering, but leaves remain usable all season. Sweet Cicely is one of the first herbs to emerge in spring, providing fresh flavor when most herbs are still dormant. It also remains attractive and productive in cool fall weather when many herbs have declined. This is a true permaculture crop that provides continuous harvests with zero care. A few plants can supply regular harvests of this useful herb while remaining ornamental throughout the season. 10. Lomatium dissectum. Lomatium dissectum, commonly known as fern leaf biscuit root or chocolate tips, is an indigenous food plant that sustained Native American communities throughout the Pacific Northwest for thousands of years. This remarkable perennial produces edible roots, seeds, and greens while thriving in dry, challenging conditions. Yet it remains virtually unknown to modern gardeners despite its historical importance and culinary value. The plant forms large clumps of finely divided, fern-like foliage that emerges in early spring. The leaves can reach 1 to 3 feet tall and are deeply cut, giving them a delicate, lacy appearance. In mid to late spring, it produces umbels of small purple-brown flowers on tall stalks. What makes Lomatium absolutely remarkable is its deep taproot that can reach 3 to 6 feet into the soil. This extraordinary root allows the plant to survive bone-dry summers without any irrigation. It's adapted to the dry climates of the western United States, where it grows on rocky hillsides and open forests. The thick taproot is the primary, traditional food. Indigenous peoples harvested these roots in spring or fall, peeled and dried them, then ground them into flour for making bread and cakes. The dried root can also be cooked like any root vegetable. The roots have a distinctive flavor, aromatic, slightly bitter, and complex. They're nutritious and rich in carbohydrates, making them a valuable survival food. The young leaves and shoots are also edible when cooked. They should not be eaten raw as they can cause dermatitis in sensitive individuals when fresh. The seeds are edible and aromatic, traditionally parched and eaten as snacks or ground into meal. Lomatium grows in zones 4 through 9 and requires excellent drainage. It thrives in rocky, gravelly or sandy soil and full sun to partial shade. It actually performs poorly in rich, moisture-retentive soil. This plant is extremely difficult to grow from seed and nearly impossible to transplant once established. The best approach is to obtain small container-grown plants from native plant nurseries and transplant them while young. Once established, Lomatium requires absolutely no care. It's completely drought-tolerant, requires no fertilization, and has no pest or disease issues. It goes dormant in summer, disappearing entirely until fall rains trigger new growth. This is a true indigenous food plant that connects you to thousands of years of traditional use. It's a plant of deep cultural significance and practical value for dry, challenging sites where other vegetables struggle. 11. Urtica dioica, stinging nettle, traditional food. Stinging nettle is possibly the most nutritious plant most gardeners actively try to eliminate. This aggressive perennial is usually considered a weed, yet it's been used as food and medicine for thousands of years across Europe and Asia. The young leaves are extraordinarily rich in vitamins, minerals, and protein, nutritionally superior to almost any conventional vegetable. If you can get past the stinging part, nettles are a superfood growing wild in many areas or easily cultivated. The plant grows 3 to 6 feet tall with heart-shaped, serrated leaves covered in tiny stinging hairs. These hairs contain irritating compounds that cause immediate burning and itching when touched. But here's the key. Cooking or drying completely neutralizes the sting. Cooked nettles are completely safe and delicious. What makes nettles absolutely exceptional is their nutritional density. Fresh nettle leaves contain more protein than most greens, exceptionally high levels of vitamins A, C, and K, plus minerals including iron, calcium, magnesium, and potassium. They're also rich in beneficial compounds with antioxidant and anti-inflammatory properties. The flavor of cooked nettles is mild and pleasant, similar to spinach but richer and more complex. They can be used in any recipe calling for cooked greens, soups, stews, pestos, quiches, pasta dishes, or simply sautéed as a side dish. Nettles grow in zones 3 through 10 and thrive in rich, moist soil with partial shade. They spread vigorously by underground rhizomes and can become invasive if not contained. Most gardeners plant them in dedicated beds with barriers to prevent spreading. Harvest young shoots and leaves in spring when plants are 6 to 12 inches tall. This is when they're most tender and nutritious. Always wear gloves when harvesting to avoid stings. The top 4 to 6 inches of growth are the prime harvest. As plants mature and flower, the leaves develop gritty particles and become less palatable. Continue cutting plants back to encourage fresh, tender growth. Cooking destroys the stinging compounds completely. Blanch harvested nettles in boiling water for 1 to 2 minutes, then use in any recipe. You can also dry them for tea. The dried leaves make an excellent nutritious tea. Nettles require no pest or disease management and no fertilization. They're extraordinarily vigorous and productive. A small nettle patch can provide continuous harvests throughout the growing season. This is a wild food that's free for the foraging in many areas, or easily cultivated for those who want a reliable supply. It's one of the most nutritious foods you can eat, and it grows with absolutely no care required. 12. Silybum marianum, milk thistle. Milk thistle is a stunning ornamental that happens to be entirely edible, yet most gardeners only know it as a medicinal herb or roadside weed. This impressive biennial produces dramatic rosettes of glossy green leaves marbled with white veins, followed by spectacular purple thistle flowers. But here's what most people don't know. The roots, leaves, stems, Flower buds and seeds are all edible and have been used as food for thousands of years across Europe and the Middle East. The plant forms large rosettes the first year with leaves that can reach 2 feet long. The foliage is architectural and beautiful, despite the spines along leaf edges. In the second year, it sends up flowering stalks 3 to 6 feet tall, topped with brilliant magenta thistle flowers. What makes milk thistle remarkable is that it provides multiple types of food from a single plant. The first-year roots can be harvested and cooked like salsify or burdock. They have a mild, pleasant flavor and tender texture when young. The young leaves, with spines trimmed off, can be cooked like chard or added to soups. They have a mild flavor similar to cabbage. The thick central rib can be peeled and cooked like cardoon or celery. The flower receptacles, the thistle hearts, are the real delicacy. These are prepared like artichoke hearts and have a similar flavor. Harvest them when flower buds are young and still tender before they open. Remove the spiny bracts and cook the tender hearts. The seeds are the most famous part, used medicinally for liver support, but they're also edible and nutritious, traditionally roasted and ground as a coffee substitute. Milk thistle grows in zones 5 through 9 and thrives in poor, dry soil with full sun. It actually performs poorly in rich, moist conditions. This makes it perfect for challenging sites where other vegetables struggle. Plant seeds in fall or early spring directly where you want plants to grow. They germinate readily and establish quickly. Space plants 18 to 24 inches apart. The plants are extraordinarily drought-tolerant once established and require no care whatsoever. They're pest and disease-resistant and tolerate neglect beautifully. Milk thistle self-sows enthusiastically, so deadhead spent flowers if you don't want volunteers. Or embrace it and allow a few plants to naturalize in wild areas. This is an ornamental plant that earns its space through multiple edible harvests. It's beautiful enough for the front yard, while providing food for adventurous cooks. It connects you to ancient food traditions while requiring zero maintenance. Bonus tip: building a perennial food forest. Now for that bonus tip that will transform your approach to growing these unusual edibles. Instead of treating them as annual crops to replant each year, create a layered perennial food garden that mimics natural ecosystems. This goes against conventional gardening practice, but it's a game changer for creating a truly low-maintenance, resilient food system. The concept is simple. Layer multiple perennial food plants at different heights to create a self-sustaining system. The canopy layer might be fruit or nut trees. The understory layer includes plants like sea kale, sweet cicely, and skirret. The ground layer features spreading plants like New Zealand spinach. Vertical climbers can grow through the system. This approach mimics natural forest ecosystems where plants occupy different niches and support each other. Taller plants provide shade for those preferring partial shade. Deep-rooted plants mine nutrients from subsoil and make them available to shallow-rooted neighbors. Nitrogen-fixing plants feed the entire system. The result is a garden that requires minimal intervention. There's no annual tilling, no bare soil to erode or dry out, and no need for constant replanting. The perennial plants establish deep root systems that make them drought-tolerant and self-sufficient. Many of the plants we've discussed today are perfect candidates for this system. Daylilies, skirret, sea kale, sweet cicely, garlic cress, stinging nettle, and lomatium all fit beautifully into a perennial food garden. They occupy different niches, have different growing requirements, and provide harvests at different times. Start small with a dedicated bed or corner of your yard. Plant several of these perennial edibles together, considering their height, light requirements, and spreading habits. Mulch well to suppress weeds and conserve moisture. Then step back and let the system establish. Within a year or two, you'll have a productive, self-maintaining food system that provides unique harvests with minimal Work. This is the ultimate expression of working with nature rather than against it. These forgotten edible plants represent centuries of culinary tradition and agricultural wisdom. They've fed communities through challenging conditions and provided unique flavors that modern vegetables can't match. By bringing them into your garden, you're not just growing food, you're preserving genetic diversity, connecting with cultural traditions from around the world, and creating a more resilient food system. Give these botanical treasures a chance, and they'll reward you with unique flavors and reliable harvests for years to come. If this video sparked your curiosity, hit like and subscribe to Food They Erased. Let me know in the comments which forgotten plant surprised you the most. See you soon.